All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order. February 6th Board of Commissioners. We are joined tonight by Harnett Central Middle School. They're gonna do the pledge for us tonight. Got the principal, Jen Black, and Mrs. Milliken, the guidance counselor. If you guys would like to come up and introduce the students you have for us tonight, and we'll have them lead us in the pledge. Thank you. Awesome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank you, guys. For invocation tonight, we're going to have Jesse and Debbie Can lead us in invocation. And while they're getting ready to do that, we just want to keep in our prayers the Harnett County deputy that was killed yesterday in an accident. So,
It was today.
was it today?
It was
Oh,
this
wow.
afternoon, yeah.
We're ready for you, man.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Debbie Hannah. I like Debbie Farrell. Andrew born and bred. I'm married to Santa Claus. We have a nonprofit company called Santa and Friends. We've been in community outreach for more than 30 years. Not just Christmas. We have a big Christmas ministry, but we do a different outreach every month of the year. So we're busy all the time. We appreciate. I'm also vice president of the Andrew Chamber of Commerce and very humbled to serve in that position. Appreciate the Andrew Chamber has been very supportive and a tremendous resource for our ministry, and we appreciate the Chamber very much. And I grew up in Andrew, and people ask all the time about how I met Santa. Well, growing up in Andrew, my family was big, and pretty much everybody in Andrew was kin to me. When I'd come home from school and I'd ask Mama, I'd say, Mama, Danny didn't ask me out on a date. Can I go? And Mom would say, Lord, no, that's your cousin. And I'd say, the whole family knew. Well, I went through the Dennis, the Johnsons, the Adamses, the McLeans, the Honeycutts, the Gardners. I was kin to everybody in Andrew, so that's how I met Santa. I had to go to the North Pole that I wasn't kin to, but Santa and I have been very, very blessed. We have a passion for service, for helping people, and God has put us on an incredible journey together. We love calling Andrew home, and when I graduated from high school, Jack Marley, and y'all, I'm sure you know that Jack Marley, the mayor of Andrew for years and years, was a family friend, and I love Mr. Jack dearly. When I graduated from high school, he gave me a Bible, and there's a handwritten inscription in the front of that Bible from Mr. Jack that says, may God bless your journey, and no matter where life takes you, I hope one day that journey will bring you back to Andrew. And that was exactly what happened. I spent 19 years as a kid growing up in a town like Andrew, never been any further away from Andrew than maybe Raleigh. You really want to see the world. You want to go places and see things. So I spent about 19 years looking forward to leaving Andrew. I spent the next 19 years trying to get back to Andrew. Lived in other states and other countries, but I'm proud Jesus, we come before you tonight, Lord, and we're so humbled and so grateful. We appreciate that you bless us. You bless us, Lord, when we don't deserve it, and even times when we forget to ask, Lord, you continue to bless us. And tonight we pray for your blessing upon these leaders that are here tonight. And every person that has come to this meeting tonight, Lord, we pray for them individually and we pray for them collectively. But for this Board of Commissioners and this mayor, Lord, I just ask that you bless them with wisdom and integrity and compassion as they make decisions. And sometimes those decisions are hard decisions. We just ask your blessings upon them as they lead our town, Lord. We love this town and this community, and we ask that you continue to bless Andrew. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right. We have the agenda before us. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda that we include discussion with our attorney as part of our closed session.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. Is there a motion to approve the new agenda?
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda as written and the addition that was just added to it.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. The first thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to have a presentation by Chief Lee Thompson for Officer Angelica Winters, and I'll let him explain why, and then we'll do a presentation.
Thank you all. This is Officer Winters. She has been with our department for about 4 months now. About 4 months. So she's new. But she's doing an awesome job. Every day we come to work, we don't know exactly what we're going to get into. Most of us, it's sad to say, but most of us look for that time that comes in our career that we can step forward and help somebody. And this young lady has done that. Mr. Cornett, he is her rec supervisor, and he was on scene, so I believe he could tell the story of what actually took place better than I can.
So on this particular day, Officer Winters was conducting patrol of Andrew. She observed smoke billowing from a residence. She was able to quickly respond. Before anybody even called 911, she was there. She was able to assist in retrieving everybody from the residence and ensuring that no lives were injured or lost. She did this quickly, without hesitation, and didn't even delay, did everything very quickly and with appropriate actions.
When officers go through school, they teach us everything as far as writing citations. They teach us how to respond to certain calls, but they never teach us how to be brave. So I'm proud of her. The whole department's proud of her. You can see the whole department's here to support her. Mr. Mayor?
You were the one receiving. Proclamation honoring the heroism of Officer Angelica Winters. Whereas every day, residents of the town of Andrew benefit from the dedication and commitment to the town employees of the town of Andrew, those public servants and unsung heroes that keep Andrew running safe. And whereas on Sunday, January 14th, 2024, Officer Winters was performing routine patrol when she observed what appeared to be a thick white cloud. And whereas she approached McIver Street, she noticed there was a house fire actively burning in the double bay garage area and no emergency personnel on scene at the time. And whereas Officer Winters taking immediate action and recognizing the severity of the emergency. Failure to act or action after delay could have led to a tragic outcome. And now, therefore, I, Robert M. Usnis, Sr., Mayor of the Town of Andrew, along with the Board of Commissioners, recognize with respect and gratitude the heroic actions and selfless courage in the act of saving a life. Officer Winters was a hero on January 14, 2024, as she responded without hesitation and utilized her training to save a life. So we have a plaque for you, recognizing that. Thank you.
Ready? Oh, y'all gotta scooch in a little more. There we go. 1, 2.
I want to add to that real quick while they're getting settled back down. Ms. Ellington herself told me herself, and I'm going to share with you guys too, that she wanted to extend her deepest gratitude to Officers Cornett, Norris, and Rodriguez, who were also at the scene, not first, but also there, and the entire Andrew Police Department and the Fire Department for reacting quickly and taking care of her that day. So thank you guys, all of you. All right, with that, we're going to go to public comment. There's only one on the list, so I'll be brief, but basically, this is the opportunity you'll have to address the board. We try to give you 3 minutes to do so. You'll sign up at the form that we keep at the door when you come in. As a general rule, we probably won't address your concern immediately, but we're here to hear it, and we'll do whatever we can after that to assist you. Tonight, we have got Tom Taylor, who would like to come and speak to us. Tom, if you could give us your name and address, just because we have to ask for it.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, my name is Tom Taylor. I live at 871 North Benton Street here in Anger. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to this board, to the town staff, to the town in general, in particular to my neighbors for the recent event I had in my family. All the cards, the letters, the flowers, the food. Honestly, my living room looked like a greenhouse. Thank you so much for that beautiful plant, Veronica. And Mayor, thank you and Mrs. Usnis and Commissioner Harmon for visiting with us that day. And Commissioner Hawley, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate that so much. It means a lot to me and my sons. I would also, it just reminds me too that what I already knew, Andrew is a very kind, loving, and welcoming place to be, and I'm so happy to call it my home. I would also be remiss if I didn't say thank you to you and this board for appointing me to the ABC board. I truly look forward to being, once again, an active member of that board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. All right. Moving along. See, we're off page 1 already. Consent agenda. We have got the minutes in our packet, and we need to approve them.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Right? Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. All right. Old business. Number 1, Resolution R002-2024, fixing a date for annexation public hearing, submitted by Triangle Land Partners. Veronica will speak to us about that.
This is just routine for any kind of annexation. There's several steps that we have to take in order to approve or not approve an annexation process. So this is setting the public hearing for the March 5th board meeting for the annexation submitted by Triangle Land Partners LLC.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any discussion amongst the board? I'll entertain a motion then.
I move to set the date for the public hearing for the annexation petition submitted by Triangle Land Partners for March 5th, 2024.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Number 2, we have a infrastructure update that's going to be presented to us by Mr. Cook.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, board. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. I'm just filling in for Bill. He couldn't make it tonight. He had some procedure going on for tomorrow, so he had to stay home. So he asked us to just give this updated schedule to the board as we go through some of our projects that we've got going on, which is obviously a lot of those. First one, we'll just kind of start through, and if the board has any questions of us, just let us know with that. So the Willow, Junie, and West Ellington Street sidewalk extension. With that one, we're pretty much getting ready to start acquiring right-of-way. So there's a lot of right-of-way to be acquired, some on DOT roads, some along the town-owned or maintained streets. So we'll be reaching out to those property owners. And what we usually do is before we actually send the representative out, we'll send out door notes to all of our residents in that area just to let them know somebody will be coming and approaching them, knocking on the door to meet with them on that. So right now, we've reached out to Summit Engineering, who is doing the engineering for this, to get a more accurate, updated schedule so we can provide that to the manager, and we'll share that with the board for that. So with these lap projects, so those are 80-20 matches, 80% from federal and then 20% town-owned. So once those are done, then they'll actually start construction, but we'll have that schedule and everything for the board for that. Is there any questions on that one? Okay. All right. The next one is the Junie Road, $500,000 elevated storage tank and Tippett Road booster station. So you can see some of our, below that, you can see some of our milestone dates on that. So currently we are waiting for NCDOT to approve our driveway permits. So we have to have a driveway permit to enter off of Junie Road where the site is, and then a driveway permit for Tippett Road. So DOT has to approve that, and they also have to approve the encroachment agreement because we'll be running water lines along state maintained roads.
How long does that normally take to?
So with encroachments, everything's pretty much electronic now. So you submit it and kind of wait for them to, look at the application, and if there's any questions, they reach back out to us or the engineer. So, but tomorrow I'm going to make a phone call and see if I can get to the top of the stack. So,
Got it.
But once we have those, then once we get Division of Water Infrastructure approval, then we can actually start soliciting for bids for that project. So those are, but we've got to have all our permits in hand, and those are
We can do
the 3
anything.
that are outstanding for these projects right now.
Got it.
The next one is the corridor water system replacement for the downtown water infrastructure. You've seen, you probably have noticed some surveyors in town, so we're doing a lot of survey work right now and the legwork in the core system. And then once all that information is uploaded, then that gives the engineers a better option of what's out there and how to design everything with any obstructions or obstacles in the way. All right. On the Southwest Drainage Basin Mitigation Measure number 3, which is down there along South Broad Street, So we're in the process of getting some surveying done to look at acquiring a little bit more land down there so we can reroute some of the drainage area there down along South Broad Street. So we have authorized the surveyor to go ahead and proceed with that, and then once that's done, then we'll get the property owner to sign it, and then we'll get it recorded, and then we'll be able to move forward. But we did authorize the Gradient, who is the engineering on this one, to go ahead and proceed with their engineering on that, not just wait for us to get the property. So they're moving forward with that. Okay, and then still on the wastewater treatment, additional capacity purchase. As you can see here, those numbers came in from Harnett County of the 15 million, almost $15.5 million, and that's going to be Andrew's part of that of the process. So, once we get an invoice from them, then we'll look at compensating and paying Harnett County for that. And then last project on here is the MacGyver and William Street sidewalk extension. So we'll be extending sidewalk from there at the elementary school up MacGyver Street and then turning onto Wilma, which will be tying into Tanglewood 3, the new subdivision down there on the left. So that's part of this LAP project. So right now we're looking at doing a request for letter of intent from engineering firms, and we'll review those and then negotiate with those firms, and then that has to be approved by NCDOT. So a lot of these LAP projects, usually you have 5 years once we get approved from to do these projects, and most of the time it takes that long just because of the process. Versus if the board would authorize staff to go and build a sidewalk, I could do that within a year, but it's a 100% cost to the town of Angier. Here, these projects are 80-20. Most of the time they end up being either 60-40 or 70-30 because of everything that's being bid out now is with the costs are so astronomical. And if we've only got X amount of dollars through funding, then the town has to supplement the remaining for that. All right. Any questions on any of those projects?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Right, thank
We
you.
appreciate the updates. All right. Veronica, would you like to speak to us about the Parks and Rec Board application?
Yes, just really quick, I wanted to inform the board that I extended the application deadline to February 20th, which is a Tuesday, to accept more applications. We haven't received a whole lot of them, but wanted to give everyone an opportunity who are interested to still have time to put their applications in.
Okay.
We're slated to have interviews at the March 5th meeting.
Okay.
Can you share just a little bit about how someone would go about applying while you're here?
Anybody can apply by either stopping by town hall and asking me for a application to fill out, or they can get the application from our website. It's posted on there. It's a fillable form. They should be able to fill it out, print it off, and submit it to me. My email address is vhardaway@anger.org. So you could either drop it off in person or you can email it to me. Try to make it as easy as we can.
Do we have those meeting times already set for people who just want to make sure it fits their schedule
For
that Parks and Rec Board?
I believe it says that they'll meet at least quarterly on
Okay.
Thursday, but the date has not been set. I think, are we waiting until we get a consensus from the group? Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
Thursday, but not certain which Thursday.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Old business. Elizabeth is going to talk to us about Resolution R003 2024, supporting the US 401 corridor study.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. At your January 10th meeting, CAMPO, that's the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, for those who aren't familiar with it, provided us a presentation of their draft recommendations for improvements on the US 401 corridor. This has been an extensive technical analysis with several opportunities for public feedback, which has been conducted over 2 years. The study is in the recommendations and preferred alternative phase, and CAMPO is requesting the town's support of recommendations through Resolution R003-2024. I will note that that particular project is not slated to be done until 2050. Questions?
All right. So the recommendation that we're making, is that for the route they're proposing where it would connect to our bypass?
It is describing the improvements that would be in Fuquay and northern Harnett County.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Board?
They came and did a very extensive presentation.
They did.
And he did ask us for a resolution. Makes me feel more comfortable to have something in writing to read instead of just saying we support, what are we supporting? So thanks for getting them to supply this. Certainly anything that helps traffic is welcome in these parts. So
Even if it's by 2050, but we got to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere.
You got to make a plan.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve Resolution R003-2024 in support of CAMPO's recommendations associated with the U.S. 401 corridor study.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Elizabeth, we have got a building inspections department update from you.
Yes. Just to provide a little bit of background, the town of Anger, like many municipalities, contracts with Harnett County to provide building inspection services. The contract that we are currently under was negotiated in 2021 at an annual cost of just over $88,000. The contract does expire this year, June 30th, 2024. We are currently requesting 6,000 inspections a year, and the county indicated that they cannot continue to provide service to the town of Anger based on the number of inspections that we are requesting. At your last workshop meeting, you asked for some information on the town creating a building inspections department. And so what I've tried to do here is to give you a little bit of a proposal. I will say it is not quite as polished maybe as I would like for it to be, but I wanted to give you a big overview of numbers. So we would definitely have to hire a chief building inspector that is level 3 in all of the trades being plumbing, HVAC, electrical. We have an employee who has been training to be a building inspector and is 2 classes away with the 6-month apprenticeship from being a level 1 inspector. So we would at least need to hire the chief building inspector and then another either level 1 or level 2 as determined by the board. And I also recommend replacing our code enforcement officer as he moves into the building inspections role. The cost for this is just over $370,000 for salary and fringe benefits, including health insurance. The equipment cost, the total cost for the trucks and all of the equipment that is needed is $148,000. We do lease vehicles, so they'll be spread out over the board could choose to purchase vehicles outright or to continue with the lease program that we have with Enterprise. We have collected just over $300,000 in revenue this year. The budget that you approved last June called for hiring another code enforcement officer. And so there's roughly $100,000 left in the salary line item based on the salaries that we've been paying and where we are in the fiscal year. So I'm giving you all a lot of information. I guess I'll take questions and then you can direct me as to what you'd like to see or what you would like for staff to do moving forward.
Well, I want to commend you because we've asked you to help us create practically a new department here. And I didn't think you'd be able to pull all of this together that quickly. And you pulled a lot of it together. We could see that it needs a little refinement. And so I'm content to call this proof of concept. I mean, the numbers you've given us look like we'd be able to afford and sustain it. we could discuss it. I don't know that we would make any kind of motion on this tonight other than to direct you to dig a little deeper and research into the scale for each position to make sure that we're competitive. And we'll look more into, the truck and equipment costs and see if it's better to do one time or divide it up and then present us with what it'll cost us every year versus what we're going to make every year. So,
Well, and the board can set the fees that they charge, right? The building permit fees. So
Yep.
ideally, you set those fees to cover all of your costs
Yeah.
so that you are.
And that's something I wanted to iterate is that this is meant to be a self-sustaining department. So the fees that we bring in on behalf of building inspections have to stay within that department. So it's not just money that we can spend on a park or spend on, anything willy-nilly. So I had a lot of questions when this was presented. I've had a little time to digest and talk to you about it. And so while that price tag seems very high, what it also means that if we hire out with the county or if we go in a different direction, we would have to give this money that we're making away to whomever is doing those inspections. So we wouldn't be able to keep the inspection money if someone else is doing it. And so that being clear to me, this seemed reasonable that while we project an increase as well, we know that we have lots of lots on the table to be inspected in the foreseeable future, that this is something that is going to be able to be self-sustaining. So we'll make enough to pay for this need.
Yeah. And to clarify something you said, if we did something different where we subcontracted out inspections, we would have to give all of our inspections money to them, not just hire it out and keep a profit. So as long as we're able to stay in the black on it, and then we could control the fees if we need to make sure that we do, I think it's a good thing to move forward. So does anyone else have any questions? I think I'd like to ask her to give her a little more time to refine it some more, to give us something hard to vote on.
Ideally, like what's a hard date that you'd like to say we need to start hiring now if this is what we're going to go do?
Yeah.
So
Ideally, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure.
We can make it work. Our next meeting is March
5th.
5th,
Mhm.
yes. So we'll need a decision one way or the other.
Mhm.
And we'll need to have salaries approved.
Mhm.
We'll need to be directed that we can start hiring. And I also want to say that we need to think about our contract with the county ends in June, but we need to bring somebody on before that
Mhm.
because, they're going to have to hit the ground running.
Yeah. It's a lot of work for you. I'm sorry.
I love a challenge.
well,
Good.
and to say that I think that we've all been pretty clear in that this is really the way that we want to go. So now it's just going to be a matter of tweaking those numbers and
Yes.
making sure everything is nice and ship shape. I don't think that this is going to be that we put all this together and decide, no, we're going to continue to let the county. I think this is the best way. It's just a matter of what it looks like. So
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay.
All right. We passed that one.
Right. I'll bring back a more refined proposal for you and more
Sure.
detail on the truck
Yeah.
leasing
You-
versus buying.
And you've done a great job so far. There is a lot of information here. So it's a big spend for us. So we want to make sure you've got the time and we've got all the information, but we're ready to do something. So.
Good.
All right. Let's talk about RFQ for on-call services.
Okay. We have discussed in previous meetings that the town has a need for a new comprehensive land use plan, that the town may have a need for a system-wide parks plan, and due to the cost of these plans and procurement guidelines, they would need to be RFQ'd, request for qualifications, or RFP'd individually. What an RFQ for on-call engineering and professional services does is allows us to put this RFQ out there and to solicit letters of interest from multiple firms. It will save time in that our department heads aren't writing multiple RFQs. We've got one. And it will give us some options across different vendors who specialize in different areas. If a project that the town specifically wants to RFQ or RFP, then having on-call firms does not eliminate that option. There is no cost to this whenever we select maybe three to four firms, and there is something that we need to be done. We'll negotiate a scope of work, and they will issue a proposal, which will be brought before you unless it's been previously budgeted. There are several towns in our region that have on-call agreements, including Dunn and Lillington. So I'm happy to answer.
So essentially, this is just an effort to streamline the process for all of the projects that we're
Right.
looking at.
Right.
We don't have an upfront cost.
If something comes up, then you don't have to wait 30 days to go through the process. You
Okay.
can call one of them immediately.
Yeah.
I would like to add under professional service categories, it said transportation. We would like to add transportation planning, design, and TIA evaluation services. And then under project categories, town planning and development, I think it says, I'm not sure what it said in the original. We would like to change that to specification standards.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I make a motion to approve the RFQ for on-call services.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. All right, guidelines for governing.
Okay. You all gathered at a mini retreat conducted by Lehman Bryce and explored ways that you could move forward as a body, each of you having your own agendas and ideas, but coming together to work for the betterment of Anger. And so after we went through our session, Lehman captured these guidelines that you all agreed to at the mini retreat. And so we are presenting them to you for approval tonight.
Well, thank you again for arranging that whole meeting. I think it was beneficial for everybody in an effort to make sure that we can work together effectively and efficiently. And so this is our formal adoption of what we discussed at that meeting. I think we've all read it. We were all there for the meeting, and we practically wrote it. Does anyone have any questions for Elizabeth regarding this? All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and approve as written.
All right, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? 3-1. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Police station RFQ.
I'm going to stay up here with Jimmy.
Okay.
Back again. All right. So we're going to talk about the RFQ for the police department. But first, I'd like to thank the board and the manager for giving me the opportunity to be the project manager for this. So,
Are you sure you should be thanking us for that?
I'll let you know.
All right.
And the water tower.
Uh-huh.
You can't leave until they're built.
And after that, we'll talk. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. So I think you've all got this in your packet, so we just kind of go through the summary of issue. So the Board of Commissioners approved an RFQ for the future police department on June 20th of 23. After release of the RFQ, USDA Rural Development noted several issues with the documents, including that it was not properly published in the newspaper. With the guidance of Rural Development, the RFQ has been amended to meet all the necessary requirements. Changes to the documents include requiring a two-story building. So after we had some initial meetings with the chief and our committee, that they felt for the use of the space, we wanted to go to do a second floor. So we're looking at adding that into, and also going to look at the removal or elimination of the sally port. in addition to build America by America language and a point system for the interview portion of the process.
Can you tell me what a sally port is? Okay, all right.
Like a secure garage.
Thank you.
Yep. Pull in, close the door.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying. I'm not afraid to ask questions if I don't know, so thank you for clarifying that.
So, Mayor, as of right now, the selection committee consists of the police chief, the project manager, myself, and the town manager. The selection committee will meet on March the 14th from 1 to 4 to select the top 3 firms. The interviews with the top 3 firms will be held March the 21st from 10 to 12, and then from 1 to 4:15. And so we're asking the board, does any of the commissioners wish to appoint 2 members to work with the selection committee that can meet during these times?
I'll take that role if.
All right. Is there anybody else who'd like to volunteer to sit in and be a part of that?
Previously, you did have 2 people.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see it beneficial to have a second?
Sometimes it's beneficial just to have the odd number. So
Okay.
as we go, even though it is a point system, that, sometimes it is beneficial to have that.
Well, to be the odd one out, I'll add myself to that if that's.
Okay.
All right. So continuing on, so financial impact. So this is where I'll let Elizabeth chime in on the financial impact. So originally we had budgeted, the board had approved $5 million for this project. And so after our meeting with the USDA today, we found, I'll let her go ahead and speak on that.
So we don't anticipate the cost of this project going over $5 million, but rule development requires you to have a 10% contingency. With that being said, they also encouraged us to put into the budget things that we've already purchased. So that's the land, that's financial analysis from Davenport, that's phase 1 and phase 2 environmental. So like I said, we're not trying to build a building more than $5 million, but what we are asking to do is to fill out our USDA paperwork for roughly $5.9 million with the understanding that we're going to be reimbursed for some of the purchases that we've already made and that we have a contingency of $500,000.
So if we don't use that contingency, we're not
Right.
going to be paying interest on it. Or
That's right.
okay. Well, it'd be nice to be prepared with that contingency anyway.
Yes, it's important to expect the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So just moving forward, so our recommendation, staff's recommendation is to approve the change to the RFQ. And then we'd like to request that a motion be made to approve the proposed changes to the RFQ for the police department and authorize the project manager, town clerk to advertise the RFQ in the Daily Record, the News Observer, and the town website, and approve the financial impact of approximately $1.9 million.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and approve what that was just brought up
Yeah,
for
you
the
said a lot, Jimmy.
RFQ. Yeah. For the RFQ.
Yes, sir. So the only thing that we added on to what you currently have in front of you is just approval of the financial impact from $5 million to
To
$5.9 million. Yes, sir.
And to advertise it.
And to advertise it, correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you very much. We'll get to work.
Thank you.
Project manager. All right. We're going to move right on to manager's report. Uh-huh.
I thought that I was stepping away too quickly.
Not yet.
Well, as you all have heard, this year is off to a busy start with many projects that are moving forward, and we are very excited and we are very grateful to our staff for moving these things forward. I did want to point out two things to you. We are going to begin working on site inventory of commercial properties internally. We're going to identify those properties. We're going to be reaching out to property owners for their permission to help market those properties in an effort to draw more commercial businesses into the town of Angier. We hope, we do anticipate that this will be a several month-long process, but we hope to have a economic development summit in town in the fall to try to encourage investors to come to Angier. And then I wanted to update you on the renovations at our Town Hall Annex, 32 West Williams Street. ServPro completed their work. Matrix certified the air quality. Angier Paint and Wallpaper is repairing the drywall, painting, and installing the floor. Cantera was out there yesterday installing the fiber. And Harnett County IT will be installing the server soon. So we are anticipating moving in early March.
Fantastic.
Does the board have any questions?
The only thing I wanted to mention, just so everyone has context about the first thing you were talking about.
Okay, sure.
Was something that I had brought up to you, and I appreciate you working on it immediately, which is great. But the town is faced with a lot of growth and a lot of burden on the systems that we have that we're working right now. So it was kind of our thought that a good strategy would be to encourage commercial, light industrial, economic development, where we still can collect tax revenue and create jobs for people in town, so that we don't all just live here and work somewhere else.
That's right.
While we're also not adding children to the school system, hopefully a much lighter burden on the police department for properties like this.
Yes.
And potentially less traffic than a housing complex would give on the same property.
Yes.
So it's just a strategy that we're looking into to see if we'll be able to help cultivate some commercial growth that a lot of us know that we need or want around here. So thank you for getting that started.
It takes the tax burden off the residents when a commercial property is available, and we don't give away all of our great land that is wanting to be developed. It doesn't all have to be residential. So
that's right. We're trying to pivot a little bit more towards commercial and industrial, and not have all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Well, I know it's another big project we've asked you to take on, so thank you for working on it. All right.
All right.
Do we have any reports from the Jeff?
Well, I was just going to say, so she didn't touch on it, but we are going to, I thought he was going to, it's okay. February 20th. Oh, you're going to do it in your mayor's report?
I'm going to let you do it after I let them do it. One of us will do it. But last time I went first, and then they had stuff to say, and I felt like a jerk. So tonight, I'm going to ask the departments if they have any presentations. Really? Nothing. Derek? Okay. Well, I am going to let Commissioner Harmon talk about the community forum. I don't care who talks about it, but it needs to be talked about. So please.
Be talked about. To express to you all in attendance, to express to everybody that's watching online, I will be talking about this from now until the 20th. You have a very valuable opportunity to come be a part of the planning process that the town of Angier is going to be working on. This forum will be held here in the boardroom. No, at the depot, excuse me, at the depot.
I knew that.
And this doesn't have the times listed, but they'll be posted on social media and things like that. So I really encourage you to come and share your opinion, to come and share your feedback. It is valuable. We need you there so that we can get a big picture of what everybody is, looking for. We want to hear everybody's opinion. It, like I said, is valuable. So February 20th, it will serve instead of our workshop meeting at the depot. So you're welcome. It is like a floating kind of come in and.
So we will have all the departments there. So there'll be about 30 minutes of informal meeting department heads, understanding what the different departments do, passing out of information. I will introduce you all, and I will introduce Gary Jackson, who's helping us through this process. And he will give a brief overview of why we're doing it. And then he will have an instrument, a survey instrument to hand out I think it's like maybe 5 questions, but basically asking people, are you from Andrew? Have you moved here recently? What are your top priorities? What do you want to see? Yeah,
So to put the real weight on this meeting, we talk about getting involved and letting your voice be heard, and it's not easy to do all the time, but this is the opportunity for you and anyone else who sees this to come and actually have some direct input to see what we're working on and to tell us what your priorities are. It doesn't get any more open door into town of Andrew than this. If you guys don't come, it wasn't worth doing it. Derek's going to wear a costume for nothing, right, Derek? So please, and I'll be promoting it too, and we're all going to be promoting this. All right, okay. All right. So we will be putting lots of information about it. You'll have no excuse for not knowing about it. So please consider attending that. All right. We don't have any staff reports, so I'll just do my little mayor's report real quick. Betty and Jane had their grand opening last weekend, but their ribbon cutting is going to be February 14th, 3 p.m. for anyone who would like to go to that. Another new business in downtown. I was told today that the town has received a $50,000 grant that was procured in the last budget cycle from Senator Jim Bergen. They're still letting the ink dry on that one, but it's coming. Veronica talked about it, but we're still accepting applications for Parks and Rec Board. Our intention has always been to appoint that board on March 5th, so we saw no reason not to extend the deadline. So if you're interested, please apply to that so you can weigh in on not just sports, but recreation. And we didn't have a board for that before, so we're looking to fill that with eager folks to be a part of that. Town Hall's going to be closed on February 19th for President's Day. And that's all I have for the mayor's report. So thank you for listening to me. All right. Last thing on here, we need to enter a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-31811, Section A5 and A6, to discuss possible property acquisition, personnel, and to confer with the town attorney. Do we need a motion to enter that? I can never remember. All right. Is there a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we go ahead and enter closed session.
All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, guys.